Imagine you are one of the greatest esports coaches in the world. You are doing what you love with a dedicated team of players, a world-class organization to win championships and along the way get paid good money. I want that for you. So if you want to have this video is for you. In this video, I will explain what separates world-class coaches from those who are not there yet.
Do you see what you're doing wrong yet? Have I yelled enough to make it clear?
And through a higher principle where every single small tiny detail, approach or method falls under. This will help you go from being an amateur coach to become a professional esports coach of the highest level that will leave a legacy. In this video, I will break down what a professional esports coach is not and teach you what an esports coach is all about. So coach, are you ready? Let's begin. The truth is this: most esports coaches aren't even coaching.
There's so many fake coaches in esports. People that are stuck platinum and somehow they decided, okay, I'm a coach now. And they make a presentation, they're like, oh yeah, I can do this, I'm this good of a coach, etc, etc. And then you work with them and the only thing they say during the fucking whole review and like all the time is like, oh guys, you need to be more patient, just be more patient here. And they are not ever saying anything that's useful, and the only things that come out of their mouth just make you more triggered.
And it's hurting teams and players more than they realize. This does not only happen with amateur coaches, no. Also professional esports teams fall into this trap.
The first coach I ever had was a guy named Roman, and this guy came in and he was supposed to be the guy that cracked skulls. He says, okay, before I actually teach you guys anything, I need to observe. I need to be able to figure out how the team works. I don't want to jump in and, start changing things immediately without the knowledge of how things operate. So he would sit in the director's chair and he would just be on his phone the entire time. And then once we were in week 3 of LCS, he had still not given us like 1 point. He had just been sitting there on his phone, just watching us the whole time. And we ended up being like, yo, dude, we're losing in LCS now. Like, we're actually losing like all the time. Like, you need to start doing something. You're supposed to be a head cracker. You're supposed to come in, teach us the game, anything like this. And he's like, honestly, I just don't know anything about the game. And then we just fired him on the spot. So that was my first experience with a coach.
They are oftentimes called paycheck stealers by their players because they don't add that much value to the team and take more than they bring. But why is this still happening? Well, I want to be honest with you. Right now, anyone can simply slap the title coach on themselves and suddenly, boom, they are one. Sounds crazy, right? But just calling yourself a coach doesn't mean you are actually coaching.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
So to get on the same page first, what do many players and coaches think coaching is, but is actually not what true coaching is about? Most people think they already know what the coach does. They would say something along the lines of like helping players improve, refining strategies, boosting performance. Sounds simple, right? But that is just the job description, not the craft and the art of coaching itself. So let me take you back to my very first experience with an esports coach as an example that I believe sounds familiar for many of you. So back in 2015, I was a collegiate League of Legends player in a team, and we were so hyped up when we got assigned a coach. I imagined everything you see from a top tier pro team, right? Structure, discipline, motivation, deep conversations, structured practices, team building and cohesion, and in-depth conversations about the game, all of those things. And I thought we were going to the moon and improve big time with this team because of the coach. But how did it in reality go? It was actually the opposite. Although the coach was super friendly and is a great guy overall, he just mostly stood behind us, watched us play and pointed out the mistakes in the VOD review or during the game. Maybe he'd give 1 or 2 solutions and that was his being a coach. I remember feeling so disappointed and feeling empty and thinking, is this really coaching? Now, you might be thinking, he didn't know the game well enough. And here's the big understood part about coaches. He had a way better game knowledge than all of us combined. He told us exactly what we needed to improve. Just do this and it will go better. Yet, we barely improved. And that's when I realized this is not coaching. And that ignited Next Level Esports. But that's a whole different video for another time. Well, sharing this story, there's a good chance you had a similar experience like me. Maybe you are coaching right now and are wondering if you are providing enough for your team to be worth the pay. But no worry, it all starts with your intention. If you do what you do with your best intentions, then you are at least have your heart in the right place. And that is something to be respected for. But what about the behaviors as a coach that perhaps could use an upgrade? Let's talk about that. So, let's break down what coaching is not first, and then we'll dive into the essence of real coaching. So, misconception number 1. A lot of coaches and players believe that coaching is just simply pointing out mistakes, just like from my experience that I had. They think that if they tell players what they did wrong and how to fix it, that they are doing a good job. But that's not really how coaching in the broadest sense works. Even at the highest level, you see this behavior very often. A coach runs a VOD review and all you hear is a list of just mistakes. Like, you should have positioned better here, this was the wrong call, you missed this opportunity. And sure, correcting mistakes is a big part of coaching, but if that is only your main focus, keep watching this video to up your coaching game. Because here is a problem. If players only hear what they did wrong, they don't build the confidence that you want them to have, and they will not learn how to think for themselves. They become very dependent over time on you to tell them what's good or what's bad, and that is a huge problem for their growth. Number 2, the misconception is another big one. Thinking that coaching means telling players exactly what to do. Like, this is the best champion, hero, agent, character for this situation. Just pick it. When the enemy comes from the left, you have to move here. Sounds logical, right? You as a coach sometimes have a lot more game knowledge, so you want to help your players by giving them the best choices. But when you do this, you turn them into robots. They don't have any autonomy over their own decisions. They follow orders like soldiers maybe, or chess pieces on a board, instead of learning how to make these decisions themselves. And guess what will happen when you're not there to tell them what to do, which is the case in most esports competitive games where a coach is not allowed to interfere. What if the situation isn't exactly like the one you've coached them on? If players don't or can't think for themselves, they simply fall apart quicker and more often. So players are not your chess pieces at your disposal to just simply do what you want them to do. Misconception number 3. Many coaches fall into the trap of overloading players with information. They want to showcase and prove how much they know. So they dump tons of knowledge and information onto their players. And don't get me wrong, knowledge is very important. But knowledge without context and application is most of the time simply useless. It is this: knowing is not the same as understanding something. And understanding something is not the same as being able to apply something that you know. These are complete different levels of learning, which are often overlooked. A player can, for example, know everything about wave management or rotations, but if they don't instinctively apply it in the game, that knowledge is close to worthless, right? At least for a player. It is like knowing how to drive a car, by watching clips and videos and seeing other people drive the car but never have driven a car themselves. And believe me, if you've never driven a car, you will completely suck at it and crash and almost guaranteed to get into an accident without proper learning and guidance, because you need to have the mind-body connection going for you. That is what learning is. You want to integrate your whole body. Your job as a coach isn't just to give information. It's to make sure players understand the process and use it at their level where they are at in their progression and development. And here's the thing, sometimes and even many times, less is more. Simple is more powerful as well. By asking the right questions as a coach, you help players reach their own conclusions. And those conclusions that they've made themselves stick way better than any long lecture from you explaining everything in detail. Then misconception number 4. And then there is this, what coaching is not. Some people think a coach's job is to hype up the players. And yes, energy matters. A great coach can motivate their team, but if your only tool is yelling things like, "Let's go guys, we got this, you can do this, trust yourself, believe in yourself, we got this as a team as long as we work together." Yes, it has some essence of truth, but you're not really coaching, you're hyping. I've seen coaches who rely on this hype so much that after a while, it just feels fake and ingenuous. And when the team starts losing, their only response is to hype even harder. The respect and believability of the coach just quickly crumbles. So being a constant hype man, that just doesn't work. Real motivation is more than just hype. Real motivation comes from within, and it's your job as a coach to build that. There are so many ways, tools, approaches, and structures that you can boost motivation with and stimulate your players. However, many coaches are unaware of these approaches. And if you are, keep watching this video and also check out the rest of the channel. Then number 5 of misconceptions for esports coaching. The last thing that coaching is not is just vibing with the players and be reactive when things happen, or more so take the friend's role of an approach. Of course, you want to create a friendly and positive environment, and it is definitely has, some positive side effects and could be a positive outcome, but being a vibing brother like one of the guys coach also comes with risks. Boundaries blur to maintain a professional distance to ensure things in the team remain fair and structured. You might lose authority, especially when things become difficult, when you start losing, for example, or the connection and relationships isn't really there. Usually the vibe and friendly approach works in the first few weeks of being with the team to connect and bond, but eventually when you get to disagreement and conflicts, this can really hold you as a coach back to help your team through difficult moments and take in the leadership role that the team and players need you to be. People expect you to be their leader as a coach, whether you like it or not. That's just the truth. And if there is no clear leadership, even when you have good relationships with everyone, things are in danger. By having no structure and clarity in place on how things go, you will always gonna run into problems that will make your team shake. And many times it will collapse because the lack of structure and clarity. And with that, these were the 5 things that usually stand out about coaches who are usually not coaching. Not saying that they don't are coaches or cannot coach, but these are common tells that they are possibly not at the highest professional level yet, but they carry the title as a professional coach. Perhaps you recognize yourself in one of these points, and that is completely okay. You are not alone, and I've been guilty of these behaviors in my early days as well, being a coach and a teacher, so no shame at all. And at the same time, you can decide right now in the moment if you want to stay as someone who just slaps the role coach on themselves, or if you want to actually become a proper professional high-level coach. And I'm not here to sugarcoat things and say how awesome of a coach you are when you are actually not doing all the coach things. But I do always see and value good intentions, regardless of the gap in experience and skill. You might enjoy coaching the way you do, and that's completely fine. And you might have some successful experience with these approaches, and that is all good by me. But I say, my perspective, if you really want to be the coach you say you want to be, with the dreams and ambitions that you tell yourself, then keep on watching and learn together. Because I will show you exactly why you want to level up your coaching skills today. The thing is, actually, esports is rapidly evolving. And I can say, like, the pattern that I see evolving is that more educated coaches will rise to the top. Currently, at this moment of recording the video, most esports coaches are just grinding, doing the same thing season in, season out, hoping that they are, sticking to the same approaches and learning from trial and error. Oh yeah, I can do this maybe a little bit different than this season. Hoping they will eventually become a world-class coach who will win championships one day and make a career out of it. Maybe it's just me, but I find it really odd and weird that oftentimes these coaches expect from their players to learn everything about the game, get good at their craft of being a player, watching YouTube videos, analyzing their own and their team's gameplay, and become the best they can be as players and teammate. But when it comes to the coaches, most of them never or rarely even picked up a book about coaching. They have watched one video, read one book about coaching, and then think they deserve to be called a coach, or think they are a professional coach now if they do the same thing over without any background for 2, 3, 4 or even longer years. No background in education, no certifications, no other area experience, just trial and area experience and a passion for coaching. Where is the dedication and investment to actually become the best coach you can be? And then when they come to me, they want to reach tier 1 teams, go full time, make a career out of coaching. Sure, I will help you. I can help you get there. But really, buddy, honestly, do you really think you actually deserve that? That is a really important question to ask yourself right now. That's what this video is about, to really get to the core. If the answer is yes, then let's go. I'm hyped for you. I'm excited. If the answer is probably not, then let's learn and grow together. So with that out of the way, now that we've recognized what isn't coaching, let's talk about actual coaching. And while we are at it, the true essence. The essence of coaching is this: to help a person change in the way they wish and help them go in the direction they want to go. Let's repeat that again. To help a person change in the way they wish and help them go in the direction they want to go. Maybe it makes immediately sense for you right away, but stay with me and I will break it down together with you so you can fully understand what this really means word for word. One of the things you might notice is that this entire statement is aimed at being at service of the person you are coaching with the words "in the way they wish." As a coach, you are in service of your players. Nowhere in that sentence does it say that coaching is about you or about you forcing things on your players, especially the keyword of forcing. As a coach, you will want to adapt your team's needs or adapt to your team's needs instead of only doing what you believe is right from your perspective. There is no right or wrong, just different perspectives, yours and your players. And if you think you are the only person being right with you working with players or with your team, you just probably haven't seen their side of the perspective yet. By taking in the other person's perspective, you will be able to work together towards your common goal. And don't be afraid about losing yourself in the process, because your identity and style as a coach will naturally always be present. You always bring yourself into the dynamic. You are you, and understand that true success doesn't come from you just only forcing them things, but comes from understanding what your players need. And importantly to note is that this doesn't mean that you have to handle your players in a silky glove type of way, that you only serve them of their wishes and everything. There is a big difference. It is about coaching from their perspectives, wants and needs, instead of your own as a coach. By understanding their wants and needs, you are able to coach them in a way that they wish. And this is a key insight if you want to be an effective coach. But in reality, you will still come across players that just are not open to be coached and have no wish to move in a certain direction. And this is because it probably has something to do with something within themselves. I call this that some players are ready to be coached and some are not ready to be coached. What I mean with ready is that players that are open and accept support towards their goals from you and others. Now I can already hear you thinking of like, but at a certain level of competition, all players must be able and should be open to being coached, right? Yes, it sounds nice, but in reality, even at the highest levels, not all players are ready to be coached. You ever experience players saying, yes, coach, but doing no coach, or only do it with less than 100% effort? Probably. This is a player usually that is not ready. Maybe on some aspects of your coaching or within the team, but on other aspects, they are not ready yet. Nowhere in the essence of coaching does it say that you as the coach should force them to act a certain way. The keyword really here is force. You want to avoid forcing anything ideally. When you are looking to build a team, of course you want to find players that align with the goals you set out, else you are starting out wrong. You want to have the same direction and goals in mind, and at the same time be open for different roads, ways and approaches to get to the goal instead of forcing your own ways onto others. Of course, there are situations where this happens, and sometimes it even leads to results when you do force something or a strategy or an approach. And yes, it has seen some positive results, but in essence, when we're talking about that, it is not really true coaching. Even if your intentions are good and from your perspective, not theirs. You could be absolutely right on your approach, strategy or solution, but that is not the same as coaching someone who is really ready and open for it. So what would real coaching look like using the essence of coaching, for example? Let's take this. Let's assume you are 100% correct on your strategies, your ideas, your approach, or the way you interact. Imagine you have all the right answers, right? You're basically ChatGPT, right? There will be still a gap between where your players are and where you are. And most of the time, that gap exists in their motivation, thinking, emotions, and also belief system. See it like this. It's like telling a young kid not to play with fire because it will burn their hands and hurt them. Don't play with fire, you will hurt yourself. You know 100% that the outcome is playing with fire is pain. It results into pain. But the kid doesn't have the same life experience and perspective as you. The only thing they feel is excitement, curiosity, and belief that playing with fire or doing completely something else that you believe is correct is that their idea is better than yours. And that is basically the gap. So even if you are right, your players might have different beliefs about how to play, how to think, and what idea is better or not. That gap must be bridged through coaching, not just information or instruction. This is why coaching is never about being right. It's always about understanding your player's perspective, what they think, what they feel, what they believe, and build and transform from that level. Only that is the fastest way to help them improve. So, to keep yourself balanced with this in mind and staying aligned with the essence of coaching, you want to think about this. Do you, as a coach, want to be right as a coach? Or do you want to make progress and help your team and players moving towards and achieving their goals? Because this is very different. Again, coaching is not about you being right, but coaching on the things that your players are ready for and wish to be coached on. The right things. You will want to find ways to get your players to move in the same directions towards their goals or common goals. Perhaps you need just a different approach, a different relationship with your player, or a different perspective or understanding about the game or whatever, to reach the player or players and team in front of you to make this progress. Now, to do so, you will want to observe, you ask, and most importantly, you listen. You figure out what your players think, feel, and believe is the best way to play and behave and move forward or handle situations. And just a reminder, I keep saying players, but as a side note, you're never coaching a player. You are coaching a person, a human of flesh and blood who happens to be in the role of a player. Just like they also have other roles, like being a son to their mother or being a Pokemon collector if that happens to be one of their hobbies. Being a player is just one of the roles a player can have, just like anything else in life. That's why real coaching goes beyond just coaching players. It's about coaching the complete human being, because you are never dealing with only the player, even when you think you are. Connect with the whole person as a coach. Be willing to learn and understand how they see life, what is going on, and why they are who they are. And the more context you have as a coach, the more effective your coaching will be. Your job as a coach is to facilitate their growth and provide meaningful feedback and support that helps them in a way they wish and leads them in the direction they want to go. Now, this is a mindset you will want to carry with you at all times. And with that essential part covered, let's take a look at the first part, the first piece of the sentence of the essence of coaching. And that is to help a person change. This part of the essence of coaching refers to creating a structured, clear, and safe environment where they are stimulated, motivated, where they are receiving individual attention and their personal wants and needs are balanced with the team's needs, as well as giving them control and agency to experiment and making decisions on their own. You can all foster that environment. It is your job to do this. You want to have an environment like this where your players can openly express themselves, where they can and feel safe to be themselves, and everyone agrees and accepts with the way things are handled within this environment. This is also aligned with the in the way they wish, as you will want to create an environment where your players will feel at home in a way that completely supports their team and also their individual goals. Everything is aligned through the structure and environment that you set up as a coach. Again, this is simple to do, but not always easy, and usually takes time to set up in the beginning by talking, communicating, rules, agreements, all of those things. But once you have set this all in place, you will save ridiculous amounts of time and energy during the competition, where you usually don't have even time to communicate and get aligned on everything inside the team. And it's so worth it. This is all about deciding on a purpose together, a vision, goals, daily actions, rules, promises, expectations, shared embedded values, and leadership systems. Yes, coach, there is so much to do as a coach, and you can learn all of these things, and I will help you with that through this channel and also everything Next Level Esports does. But Structure and a performance climate does not create itself by coincidence, right? Nor does it form or shape perfectly over time by just going with the flow and vibing with the players. It has to be a conscious effort from you. Every team I have seen that does not have a basic structure or any clarity how they want to approach things have had frustrations, miscommunication, demotivation, and far from optimal performances during the season. Let alone the lack that is linked to all of that is results. With many teams, because of this, collapsing in the end. Logical. By creating this structured and clear environment, you help a person change in the way they wish and helps them go in the direction they want to go. And you might think that all professional teams in, tier 1 have all of these things in place. Well, newsflash, they don't, at least not at this moment in time of recording this video. So this is a huge opportunity for you to bring all of these skills in and showcase who you are as a coach, to fast track your way to higher level competitions that pay you money for a career you love to do. And if you want to know what structure is like with you as a coach, to think like, okay, what is my structure? Do I have structure? What is my role? How can I create structure? Well, you will want to ask the following question. How can I see if I have structure in place to help my players change? Here's a different way to think about structure and clarity in a team. Now, imagine you remove all the communication with words. And for a second, I know this might sound weird, but bear with me. Your players are like toddlers, almost a little bit older than babies. They run and jump around, little humans playing a game, but they are not able and can't talk yet. Or imagine them like a bunch of puppies in your house. With toddlers and puppies, you can't explain things with words or information. You have to help them grow and develop in different ways than simply telling them stuff or showering them with game knowledge. Structure is close to basically the things that are left over when you remove the game knowledge, gameplay, and communication in your coaching and the way you do things. So if you remove all of those things, what is left? Now, go through your own coaching approaches and think about what will be left over. Will your players still know how to behave properly without the need of communication? Do their actions align with each other without communication? Do they know how to teamwork together? Are there structures? Are there flowcharts in place? If we do from A, B, C, D all the way to Z, is there a process in place? Is there a strategy? Right? And also, are they valued as individuals and get enough stimulation and motivation from the environment they are in? And do they get enough praise from you and others? Do they know what to do and when to do it throughout practice without explaining anything? Is there sort of like predictability inside of it? Are there set routines? Are they relaxed and happy without the thoughts of uncertainty about anything? Just to name a few things. If you look at your own structure and little to nothing is left when you take away game knowledge, gameplay, and communication, then you probably have little to no structure nor clarity. To build your backbone of your coaching, you will want to have expectations set rules, having a schedule, being predictable with practices and scrims on the same times, the same days, have clear boundaries for behavior through shared values, always a short break after each game, for example, right? So all of these routines, those all contribute to having a structure. And the structure, how you introduce new subjects and how you structure VOD reviews. You can also view excellent structure by having your players know exactly what to do during practice without needing to ask what is next, and know exactly how they want to align their behaviors with each other. Now, you will want to have a structure that is predictable and reliable. Now, let's say a toddler tries to walk but fails. Or a player, right, that reference to a player doing something or trying something, but it fails miserably. What do? Do you punish them? Do you criticize the toddler? If a toddler tries to walk and falls down, do you say, wow, toddler, you suck at walking, try balancing next time, or move your leg more to the left and then you will do better? Or you should practice balancing and walking more? Probably not, right? You encourage them, you support their intentions, their effort, and put your attention on the process, not just focus on the outcome. Now, why did we stop drastically lower the amount of stimulating positive behavior later in life, when it helped us grow who we are currently at our younger age? When there is truth in the toddler or puppy example, why do we oftentimes treat players differently and not spend enough time building a performance environment to facilitate similar things, but then of course in a more adult way that aligns with their environment and their age, of course, appropriately. I'm not saying your players are exactly like toddlers or puppies, but it helps you to think and reflect about our own behaviors as a coach to do the things that are best for your players, instead of what comes easy and what is viewed as normal in the esports industry. So instead of constantly pointing out mistakes, ask yourself, how can I influence this player's behavior in a way that actually help them grow and fix the mistakes on his own, or at least with a little bit of support and help from me. Now, if you can do this, this is the backbone of top tier coaches. And if you want to learn these things in more detail in future videos, be sure to subscribe to this Next Level Esports channel, so over time you will be able to learn all of it. Okay, continue. So another part is the and help them go in the essence of coaching. This refers more to being a guide, where you provide training, mentorship, and guidance that help them on their journey. This could be giving them links to VOD reviews of other professional players. Perhaps you reach out and provide them a book that you recommend them to read, or anything that they can use along the journey, alongside tools, sheets, templates, structure, training manuals, schedules, etc. Right? So this also includes deep conversations, asking questions about their identity, their personality, personal goals, perspectives, natural tendencies, that include strengths and also points for improvement based on their own viewpoint, aka perspective. Basically, to get as much context about who your players and team is and how you can guide and serve them the best. And then the last part of the essence of coaching is in the direction they want to go. What this refers to is as what it says to help them towards their goals without the need of a singular path. And that is important, because there are way more roads that lead to Rome, as the saying goes. And so are there many more ways and roads that lead to your player goals. So even though sometimes situations are unclear, you can still keep going in the direction everyone or that particular player wants to go. If you happen to catch yourself wanting to go in a different direction than a player of your team because you think things need to change, think again very carefully if you truly have aligned everyone together to a common goal where everyone is intrinsically motivated to take that path and direction together. Helping players in their direction also means holding your players accountable and help making better decisions. So sometimes it also means saying no to something or staying away from something, because that is what the player wants and agreed to in the first place. A common example is when a player wants to improve on a certain aspect, you help and agree on exercises, drills, or maybe a training schedule to improve the player in that area. And after 3 weeks, you notice due to analytics or just conversations or during practice that your player isn't really doing everything like he should or agreed to compared to the first 2 weeks, right? So you might think that I will now say that you hold him accountable to the promise he made with himself or with you being the coach. And if you think that, that could be an option, and it could be a good option. However, the essence of coaching is also very much about understanding the context. You want to know why he didn't follow up with his own goals, because he wanted to move in that direction. And through understanding your players, you can then find possibly a more suitable option to coach and guide him again on that right path. Sometimes it means holding players accountable. Sometimes life happens, illness in the family or whatever, or something else gained more attention and priority from their perspective, right? So someone could be, for example, be deceased, right? A family member has died or got into an accident, or the girlfriend or boyfriend broke up. All of these things happen. So try to avoid making immediate assumptions as a coach, so you can help your players in the best way possible by meeting them first where they are physically and mentally, and then look for the best path towards their goal together. You are helping them on their path where they want to go. You are keeping them in the right direction this way, and every single time you are doing this. And that is the more contextual version of the essence of coaching. But if you as a coach are like, okay, this is a lot of context, how can I simplify it? Then this is what I want you to remember. And people who are working with me and been through certification programs, courses, masterclasses, they hear it all the time. And that is the following. We as coaches are not in the information business. We don't provide information. We are in the transformation business. That is what we do. We want to positively help change behavior one step at a time, or take leaps in it. That is our responsibility. So the shortest form, and that is what I always use in everything I do, is the quote, transformation over information. That's it. Transformation over information. For me, this is the simplest version of the essence of coaching simplified. It does not matter if you have the best information, if you fail to connect and transform the behavior of a human, of yourself, which is often complex. You will want to see the human side of your players, see what makes them tick, and only then provide the right information to transform their behavior. So you don't overload them, but provide the correct information, that missing building block in their development, so they can skyrocket and go 10x in their development. We all know the approach where you can information dump all the right answers on a player, but most of the time it just won't stick unless the players feel and decide it is meaningful for them. Meaning if they decide and feel that they are ready to be coached by you. So, in a quick summary of this whole video, the essence of coaching is about transformation, not information. So you make sure you create a strong and clear structure that helps a person change, be invested in your players, not just simply interested, understand who they are as human beings, as they are so much more than just players, and help them in a way they wish they want to be helped, and when they are ready. And get really clear on the common goal and help them stay in the direction they want to go. Now the task is for you to go out there and try to apply this higher coaching principle. Decide right now in the moment if you're gonna act on it, if you're gonna transform yourself, or you just thought this is nice information and do nothing with it. That is the whole essence of coaching. Transformation over information into your coaching. And if you do this, you will quickly notice the positive transformation of yourself and the people you will work with. And if you want to learn more practical coaching tips on how to create a strong and clear structure, or how to help them stay on track with their goals, or anything else about esports coaching to succeed and grow to the next level on the highest professional level and get paid good money, then subscribe, watch all the other videos of Next Level Esports on this channel. But for now, I see you in the next video, coach. Ciao, ciao.